we are discussing about reading. Reading is a complex cognitive process of decoding symbols in order to create or gaining meaning, or we can say it involves both perception and thought. Reading is a means of language acquisition, communication and of sharing of information and ideas. Like all languages, it is a complex interaction between the text and the reader, which is shaped by the reader's prior knowledge, experience, attitude and language community, which is culturally and socially situated. The reading process requires continuous practice, development and refinement. In addition, reading involves creativity and critical analysis. There are no concentrate laws in reading, but rather allows readers an escape to produce their own products introspectively. This promotes deep exploration of text during interpretation. Readers use variety of reading strategies to assist with decoding and comprehension. Readers may use context clues to identify the meaning of unknown words. Okay, why the reading is important? Reading is fundamental to functioning today's society. There are many adults who cannot read well enough to understand the instructions on a medicine bottle. That is a scary thought, especially for their children. Filling out applications becomes impossible without help. Reading road or warning signs is difficult. Even following a map becomes an unpleasant task. Day-to-day activities that many people take for granted become a source of frustration, anger and fear. Reading is vital skill in finding a new job. Many well-paying jobs require reading as a part of job performance. There are reports and memos which must be read and respond to. Poor reading skills increases the amount of time it takes to absorb and react in workplace. A person is limited in what they can accomplish without good reading and comprehension skills. Reading is important because it develops the mind. The mind is a muscle. It needs exercise. Understanding the written words is one way the mind grows in its ability. Teaching young children to read helps them to develop their language skills. It also helps them to learn to listen. Everybody wants to talk, but few can really listen. Lack of listening skills can result in major misunderstandings, which can lead to a job loss, marriage breakup and other disasters, small and great. Reading helps children and adults focus on what someone else is communicating. Why is reading important? It is how we discover new things. Books, magazines and even the internet are great learning tools which require the ability to read and understand what is read. A person who knows how to read can educate themselves in any area of life they are interested in. We live in an age where we overflow with information, but reading is the main way to take advantage of it. Reading develops the imagination. TV and computer games have their place, but they are more like amusement. Amusement comes from the two words a and muse, means known and think. Amusement is non-thinking activities. With reading, a person can go anywhere in the world or even out of it. They can be a king or an adventurer or a princess or anything. The possibilities are endless. Non-readers never experience these joys to the same extent. Like imagination, reading develops the creative side of people. When reading to children, stop everyone's in a while and ask them what they think is going to happen next. Get them thinking about the story. When it is finished, ask if they could think of a better ending or anything that would have improved it. If they really liked the story, encourage them to illustrate it with their own drawings or to make up a different story with the same characters. Get the creative juices flowing.
Famous American entrepreneur Jim Rohn once said that you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And there's a lot of truth to this. Chances are if the 5 people closest to you all like to go out partying and they don't take care of themselves, you probably don't either. If they all enjoy playing video games all night and have terrible grades, your grades are probably not something you're proud of too. But if your friends love hitting the gym on a daily basis and they watch what they eat, there's a high chance you're healthier than the average Joe. Of course, there are exceptions to this, but the general consensus is that there's some truth to this idea. We as human beings learn from our surroundings. We're sophisticated animals that excel at copying each other. This is largely where things like culture, slang, accents, and even traditions come from. People learn each other's habits and adopt each other's mindsets after spending large amounts of time with each other. I frequently catch myself using other people's catchphrases after hanging out with them for just a short period of time. And that's why it's to no surprise that a large majority of the most successful people on this planet have attested a lot of their success to their mentors. Martin Luther King had Gandhi, Mark Zuckerberg had Steve Jobs, Drake had Lil Wayne, and Bill Gates had Warren Buffett. People who become successful almost always have at least one person in their sphere of influence who is already massively successful. It's from them that they adopted the mindsets and habits that they needed to eventually bring them to success. However, you might say, well, I don't know anyone who's successful, my friends are just average people. But this is where the benefit of reading comes into play. A book is literally the words, the ideas, the mindsets, the advice, and even the experience of another person wrapped into a convenient, portable, always available collection of papers. It's almost equivalent to having that person there speaking to you. 75% of self-made millionaires have even reported reading at least 2 books a month. The true benefit of reading is that you can pick and choose who you want to add to your inner group of influence that will eventually affect who you become as a person. When you read, you get a glimpse into the mind of the author. There are so many books out there that are written by people who are already massively successful in different fields. Their ideas, mindsets, and words are all waiting to be shared. If you wanted to go on a meditation retreat with Gandhi, talk politics with Martin Luther King, hit the studio with Lil Wayne, or even get business advice from Warren Buffett, all you have to do is submerge yourself by reading their words and you'll get a glimpse into their world and their way of thinking. You will have essentially added a new friend to your group of friends, a friend who is most likely older and wiser on top of being significantly more successful. And when you do that, you start adopting some of their mindsets and their habits, because that's what we do as humans. We copy each other. And this is what eventually brings you closer to success. So challenge yourself to read. My personal New Year's resolution this year is to read at least 1 book a week, so expect some videos about big concepts that may come across.
Reading is fundamental in developing a good self-image. Non-readers or poor readers often have low opinion of themselves and their abilities. Many times they feel as if world is against them. Good reading skills, especially in phonics reading program, improve spelling. As students learn to sound out letters and word, spelling becomes easier. Also, reading helps to expand the vocabulary. Reading new words put them in their mind for later use. Seeing how words are used in different contexts can give a better understanding of the word usage and its definition rather than just the cold facts of a dictionary. There is an old saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. Ideas written down have changed the destiny of men and nation for better or worse. The flow of ideas cannot be stopped. We need to read and research to build on the good ideas and expose the bad ideas before they bring destruction. Only by reading we can be armed in this never-ending life and death struggle. Reading is typically an individual activity, although on occasion a person will read out loud for the benefit of other listeners. Reading aloud for one's own use for better comprehension is a form of interpersonal communications. Comprehension is understanding what is being said or read. When it comes to reading, it is an active process that must be developed if a learner is to become proficient reader. Effective reading skill development is further accomplished when the learner becomes proficient in literal, inferential and critical comprehensive reading. Okay students, let us see the different levels of reading comprehension. Then first one is literal. Literal comprehension involves what the author is actually saying. The reader needs to understand ideas and information explicitly stated in the reading material. Some of this information is in the form of recognizing and recalling facts, identifying the main idea, supporting details, categorizing, outlining, and summarizing. The reader is also locating information, using context clues to supply meaning, following specific directions, following sequence, identifying stated conclusions, and identifying explicitly stated relationships and organizational patterns. These organizational patterns can include cause and effect as well as comparison and contrast. Next one is inferential reading. Inferential comprehension deals with what the author mean by what is said. The reader must simply read between the lines and make inferences about things not directly stated. Again, these inferences are made in the main idea, supporting details, sequence, and cause and effect relationships. Inferential comprehension could also involve interpreting figurative language, drawing conclusions, predicting outcomes, determining the mood, and judging the author's point of view. Next one is critical reading. Critical comprehension concerns itself with why the author says what he or she says. This high level of comprehension requires the reader to use some external criteria from his or her own experience in order to evaluate the quality, values of the writing, the author's reasoning, simplifications and generalization. The reader will react emotionally and intellectually with the material.
Hey guys, today we're going to be having a look at the 3-level reading guide. In this video, we are going to walk through a 3-level reading guide together, and we're going to go through what are the different stages of reading. Personally, I love the 3-level reading guide because it really helps us to learn that reading is individual and personal, and that we all read a book in a slightly different way. The purpose of the 3-level reading guide is so that you can consider and think about a text without your teacher explicitly telling you what something means, what the symbolism is, how to interpret and understand this text. The purpose of the 3 levels of reading is for you to develop this skill on your own and not need to rely on your teacher to explicitly teach you every step. This is a life skill, and it's something that will help you to really love and develop your reading. So the 3 levels of reading are literal, inferential, and evaluative. We normally start with the literal, which is the surface, what's happening, and we only consider what is written in the text. Now, this is the level that should be pretty similar between you and your peers and friends. The next step is the inferential level, where we're reading between the lines and we're thinking a little bit outside the text. We're starting to take in a little bit of our knowledge outside of just what is written on the page. And the 3rd level is evaluative. And in that level, we're really analysing the text, we're using our opinion, and we're thinking more outside the text than we are in any other level. Now, the image that we're going to be looking at is an image created by Shaun Tan from Tales of Outer Suburbia. The literal level is when we look at what is happening, what is stated in fact, what is the text about on the surface, where is the text set, who is in the text, and all that really basic information that just is really on the surface of the text. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is to pause here and answer 1 or 2 of these questions for yourself and see how you go. So, my literal understanding is that there is a girl reading a novel. The girl is surrounded by creatures who are also reading. These creatures are not animals that exist in our real world. Instead, they have features that are both man-made and natural. We can see that there's a tap. We can see that one that kind of has the face of a crocodile. The girl is on a tall hill away from town, but there is a town in the distance. It does appear to be a sunny day, but there is smog far away, coming from a factory. So, what did your literal look like? It might have been similar to mine. You might have picked up on some slightly different details, but the idea with the literal is that there really is a correct answer. These are the things that have been stated. They are fact. We know that it has happened. Now for the inferential level. This is my personal favourite of all 3 levels. In this, we ask, what do you infer? What do you think the text might be about? What are the themes, the ideas, the key messages? And are there any literary devices used within this text? Okay, so pause here and we'll see what you come up with. Okay, so I struggled to make my inferential short enough to fit on the page, so I will elaborate a little bit more on what I've written there. So the author has used personification of the creatures. I actually think that the animals or creatures that we can see there are from the books that the young girl has read in the past. I also think that they're kind of an embodiment or a symbol of her own imagination and personality. So I think that these are kind of all of her imagination coming to life and the things that she's read coming to life as well. I think that they're having a book club together and that she's sharing her love of reading with them. I also wonder if there is a message about how novels can help us to escape the world. We can see the town in the background that's looking smoky, it's not looking very attractive, but up on the hill she's surrounded by friends, she's surrounded by nature, and it's nice and peaceful and calming. So that's an example of the inferential level. It can be really helpful if you're doing this on a written text to include quotations that prove or help to support your ideas. Also remember that in the inferential level, there are multiple different interpretations. There are incorrect answers, but these incorrect answers are if you have literally read the text in the wrong way. So if you came up with different interpretations, it's actually a really good thing. The next and final step is the evaluative stage. Now, the evaluative stage is based around your opinion. It's based around your point of view and how you feel about the text. So the questions we're going to look at are: how has the author created the literary world? Did you like the literary devices the author has used, or would you use some different ones? Did you like the voice that they created? Do you like the main characters? Did you like the setting? And how would you improve the text to become better? At the evaluative stage, we will all have our own different opinions. The main thing is that we're supporting that opinion with evidence. So pause here and we'll have a look at the evaluative level. I found that the personification of the creatures was mesmerizing, and I was drawn towards the one-eyed creature that's towards the left of the image. His large eyes looking carefully at me, almost inviting me in to become part of the group. The tone and voice is peaceful and calming, and I really liked that feature of the image. But how I would improve it is that I felt that there could be a more powerful message. Given the background of the township, I wonder if that message could be something about the dangers of the city and town compared with nature and learning and reading. How did you go with your evaluation? Did you include some evidence to support your ideas? I hope that you can see the benefits of the 3-level reading guide. For me, the benefits are 5 different reasons. The first is that it's based around you, your ideas, your understanding, your own personal reading. Edmund Wilson once said that no two persons ever read the same book, and that's what this guide can really help you with, reading individually. It also allows us to read at a deeper level. It starts with the basics and moves deeper and becomes more complex as we go through. It also helps us to not skip one of these levels and to really stop and think about what we're reading. It can be done with any type of text. I'd normally use it with a novel, film, or poetry, but as we can see there, you can even do it with an image, a painting, or any other type of text. It's even better when you can share this with your friends, okay? This way that it will push your thinking into new ideas and it will extend what you already know and were thinking. To me, the most important thing is that it creates independence for you. You become less reliant on the teacher to just tell you and spoon feed you what the ideas are. You can stop and think for yourself and create your own unique interpretation of the text. I hope this video has helped. Good luck.
To conclude, literal, inferential and critical comprehensive reading is what makes skilled strong reader. This skill must be learnt and developed. It does not just happen. With that thought in mind, it has also been shown that strong readers make good writers. Sustained exposure to the English language does allow for an expanded vocabulary and knowledge of correct grammar usage. When this is combined with literal, inferential and critical experiences, it enables writers to better express themselves,